Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are KBA student from group 13. Today we would like to share with you guys about the 9 principles of journalism. First of all is the truth. Truth is depends on pupil having reliable, accurate facts that are placed in a meaningful context. Journalism does not seek absolute or philosophical truth, but it can and must seek it in a practical sense. In the book Kovacs and Rosenshell write, all truth, even the law and science, are subject to revision, but we operate by them in the meantime because they are necessary and they work. This journalistic truth is the result of a process that begins with the professional discipline of gathering and verifying facts. Then, subject to further investigation, journalists attempt to convey a fair and reliable account of their meaning. Journalists should be as open as possible about their sources and methods, so the readers can make their own opinion. Even in a world of expanding words, getting it right is the foundation upon which everything else is built, like context, interpreting, comments, criticism, analysis, and debate. In the end, the principle of truth very important in journalism. Let's hear another principle of journalism.
Next, the principle of journalism is loyalty. It is mean journalists in those organizations must maintain loyalty to citizens and the larger public interest above any other. In order to communicate the news without fear or favor, media organizations respond to numerous audience, including shareholders and advertisers. The implicit covenant that ensures the viewers that the coverage is not biased for friends or sponsors is the foundation of a news organization's credibility. Journalism should portray all social groups fairly in order to uphold its commitment to the public. Certain citizens become disenfranchised when they are ignored. According to the principle guiding the modern news industry, credibility creates a sizable and devout audience, and economic success follows. In that regard, the entrepreneur in a news company must also cultivate and instead then exploit their loyalty to the audience above all this.
My name is AISYAH MUNIRAH binti AZMI. My metric number is 1200211. Next, the 9th principle of journalism is verification. Every journalist must rely on a professional discipline to verify the information about news that they want to write. Originally, the concept of objectivity did not imply that journalists are free of bias or not choose any people. So, the journalist must have a consistent method of testing information, like a transparent approach to evidence precisely. It is to make in order that personal and cultural biases would not undermine the accuracy of their work. For example, to verify the information, the journalist must disclose as much as possible about the sources, seeking out multiple witnesses, and also asking the various sides for comment. This verification discipline distinguishes journalism from other modes of communication, such as propaganda, fiction, or entertainment. However, the requirement for professional methodology is not always fully recognized or defined. Since journalism has established various methods for determining facts, it really has done less to create a method for testing the accuracy of journalistic interpretation.
Next, independence. Independence is a fundamental requirement of journalism and a pillar of its dependability. The principle that journalists must keep in mind is independence of spirit and mind rather than neutrality. While editorialists and commentators are not neutral, the source of their credibility remains their accuracy, intellectual fairness, ability to inform rather than their loyalty to a particular group or outcome. However, in our independence, we must avoid any tendency toward arrogance, elitism, isolation.
Next, I would like to tell about controller, and usually journalism can act as a watchdog over those whose influences and position most directly impact the public. When the founders granted an independent press, they understood it to be a defense against despotism. Courts have upheld it, and citizens depend on it. As journalists, it is our responsibility to safeguard this freedom of the press by avoiding its trivialization or commercial exploitation. Thank you.
Next, public activism and compromise. The news media regularly carry public discourse, and these responsibilities serve as the foundation for our unique rights. So, when this dialogue is based on fact rather than bless and speculation, society will benefit the most, and additionally, it should make an effort to properly represent the various interests and points of view within the society and to clarify them rather than focusing primarily on the diametrically opposed extremes of disagreement. From that, in order to define the public discourse accurately and honestly, we must not ignore the areas of agreement where problem solution takes place.
Next, the principle of journalism is it must make every effort to make the significant interesting and relevant. Journalism is purposeful storytelling. It should do more than simply gather an audience or catalog the significant. It must balance what readers know they want with what they cannot predict but need in order to survive. To put it another way, it must strive to make the significant interesting and relevant. The effectiveness of a piece of journalism is determined by how well it engages and informs its audience. This means that journalists must constantly ask themselves what information most valuable to citizens and in what form. Why? Journalism should go beyond topics like government and public safety. A journalism dominated by trivia and false significance breeds a trivial society. That's all for me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Siti Sarah binti Badrol HISHAM and my number metric is 1200289. So today I will present to you about a comprehensive and proportionate. Right. So keeping news in proportion and not leaving important things out are also cornerstones of truthfulness. Secondly, journalism is a form of cartography. It creates a map for citizens to navigate society. Thirdly, inflating events for sensation, neglecting others, stereotyping or being disproportionately negative all make a less reliable map. Then, the map also should include news of all our communities, not just those with attractive demographics. Finally, this is best achieved by new rooms with a diversity of backgrounds and perspectives. My point number 2 is a cons science. My name is Siti Sarah binti Badrul Hisham and my number metric is 1200289. Cons science. Firstly, every journalist must have a personal sense of ethics and responsibility, a moral compass. Secondly, each of us must be willing, if fairness and accuracy required, to voice differences with our colleagues, whether in the newsroom or the executive suite. Then, news organizations do well to nurture this independence by encouraging individuals to speak their minds. This stimulates the intellectual diversity necessary to understand and accurately cover an increasingly diverse society. Finally, it is this diversity of minds and voices, not just numbers, that matters. So that's all for us. Thank you for listening.